Yo, what is up, guys? It's Pedro here. We got another Washington Commanders weekly stream, and I got my guy Abdullah from DMV Sports Zone excited to talk about some Commanders football today. I know it's a oh my God, my camera's off. I know it's a very different time than I usually do, but you know, it's NFL, playoffs, so I don't want to stream during the playoffs. So we're just going to be doing it now. But I'm excited to talk about, the OC search. We have some Chris Harris news. He will be leaving the Commanders and much more to talk about. But how you doing, Abdullah?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man, no problem. So let's start off with while we wait for some people to get in here. The news of the day. It's not like breaking news or anything, but Washington Commanders DB coach Chris Harris is leaving and going to the Tennessee Titans, or expected to go to the Tennessee Titans as like a DB coach slash pass game coordinator. So he was one of our better assistants. The DB room, I thought they developed really nicely this year. St. Juice, when he played, was good, and the only knock on St. Juice is the injuries, and Chris Harris can't control that. Derek Forrest developed. Cam Curl's been really good since Chris Harris has been here, and some other guys have developed as well. So unfortunate to see him go, but I definitely understand it with the whole ownership situation. Who knows if that was just probably not stable enough for him, and he was like, okay, I might as well go somewhere where I know like Mike Vrabel isn't getting fired. So like I'll be here for the next few years. Where here, probably not. So your thoughts on that?
Yeah, why? Like, I kind of assumed that he was going to be gone just because like Chris Harris is one of the he's like one of the best assistant coaches on this team and just like looks very appealing to other teams. So again, it is frustrating, but at the end of the day, like he's wherever he wants to go, I'm happy for him. It just goes to show that again we need to make sure that we develop these assistant coaches, and eventually they're going to get hired somewhere else. But we need to make sure that we get those people above the assistant coaches, like a good offensive coordinator, a good defensive coordinator. So again, it is sad, but at the end of the day, NFL is a business.
Yeah, and if we ever, you know, so I saw someone earlier on Twitter ask about, okay, will we get a draft pick for this? No, we won't, because there is a rule with the NFL with like the minority head coaches. If they get hired as from an OC to a head coach, you get draft picks. So that won't be happening here. But happy for Chris Harris. What's up, Washington Commanders in the chat? Says let's go Washington. But yeah, happy for him in an uncertain situation here. He goes to a more stable situation. It does suck though that he is leaving. He's probably our best assistant coach besides maybe John Matsko, who didn't even have that great of a year. What's up, Jairus? Hey, if you want to come on right now, let me know. If you do, I'll send you the link. Just give me your number, because right now, would be a good time to talk. But so that's kind of the news of the day. Uh, Yak Dog 24 says, where did he go? He's expected to go to the Tennessee Titans. That's where he's going. But I think he had an interview with the Bears as well. So not really. I mean, I guess he's somewhat getting promoted because he's going from DB's coach to still DB's coach plus pass game coordinator. So the Commanders will have a not defensive coordinator, a DB coach spot to fill. One thing I did see on Twitter is that Del Rio's contract is up. So that is interesting, for sure, to see, is he gonna want to stay for another year, or is he gonna want to leave and we have to hire new defensive coordinator? I think at this point, I mean, it's kind of too late to be like, okay, let's fire or let's just let him go. But who knows that, because I feel like if we were gonna move on from him or not give him an extension, I feel like we would have already been like announced that and started to, interview DC spots or, defensive coordinator candidates. How about you?
Oh yeah, yeah, and I agree with you. Like, if he were to be gone, we definitely would have said that. Hey, we're looking for a defensive coordinator. But I think the plan is we let go of Scott because he was a scapegoat. We keep Ron and Jack, extend Jack for at least a year, see how they do evaluation year. If it is completely bad, just let them go after next year. And although Jack, I still think is the best out of the three. It's not really much to say because again, we always get frustrated at the beginning of the year where the defense just like secondary. There's like no communication, and there's like late game mid-season adjustments or a little bit before that. So, but Jack, like we finished the 4th defense overall this year, which is really impressive considering the fact that we didn't have Chase Young for a good amount of time. We're dealing with a lot of injuries. We lost key guys at the end of the season, like Cam Crow against the San Francisco 49ers, Derek Forrest. So it is what it is, but I wouldn't mind Jack Del Rio here again next year.
Yeah, for sure. I think Jack Del Rio did a good job. Again, like you said, the beginning was a little bit rough, but at the end, he ended up doing a really good job. So let's move on to offensive coordinators news. So let's start with all the candidates that they have. So Ken Zampese, Pat Shurmur, those guys are kind of more either. I mean, Ken Zampese is an internal guy, and Shurmur has a lot of connections to Ron. What's the guy's name? Eric Studsfield, Miami running back / assistant coach. He's another candidate. We have I'm trying to think of who else. Daryl Bevel, we wanted him, but he didn't accept it. So that's one thing to consider right there. And then after that, Eric Studsfield, Charles London, QB's coach for the Atlanta Falcons, and then Thomas Brown is another guy. Thomas Brown is another guy that we're wanting to interview. Am I missing any guys? I know this might be a couple.
I mean, I know my name was thrown out there with Greg Roman again, but I don't think that's possible because I don't think the team's interested.
Who did you say?
Greg Roman, the former Ravens offensive coordinator.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely a possibility for sure. I'm going to be interested to see if that happens. It does make sense a little bit with the with our run first philosophy, but for you, give me some guys you do like and don't like in terms of the names that we've been hearing around the Commanders.
I mean, I feel like what I like, obviously, like for some reason, and it's just Frank Wright is a guy that I really like as an offensive coordinator, not as a head coach. That's one guy. And also, I mean, Ken Zampese, I wouldn't hate it, but I wouldn't love it compared to like Frank Wright, just for the fact that, hey, like maybe Ken Zampese will have the same mindset as Scott Turner. But also considering the fact that we're going to have Sam here, we don't want to have a new system for him. And a person that I just do not want is Greg Roman. I don't like, considering the fact that a lot of my friends at Ravens fans are just saying that he just doesn't know when. It's just like a Scott Turner, but Greg Roman had Lamar Jackson at QB. And I know he's a big run heavy guy, and I like Scott. Like if we run the ball a lot, which is honestly good, but we also have weapons on the outside like Jahan, Terry, and Curtis. So it'll just be really questionable if we got him as OC.
Yeah, for sure. And someone says Byron Leftwich. What would you think about that?
Again, like with Leftwich, like I don't know. I mean, with Tampa, like he had it was Mike Evans and I'm missing Julio Jones, Chris Godwin. Like again, maybe it's the fact that, hey, like this year they have a 44-year-old quarterback. The run game really was like really inconsistent. So I wouldn't hate it again, but it wouldn't be like the top candidate like a Frank Wright.
Yeah, I mean Leftwich, they did not do the offense for the Bucks was not good this year. If they hire him, would it be the end of the world? No, but I like other candidates, and I think, like you said, Frank Reich would be amazing. I don't think he's gonna take an OC job right now, or if he does, it'll probably be someone like the Chargers or maybe the Ravens, who have a good young quarterback in Lamar. If he is coming back, then that spot is intriguing. And then Jim Schwartz is another guy that they rumored to be interested in. He turned him down because of head coaching spots. But if he doesn't get a head coaching job, then maybe he reconsiders it, and that would be another big one. And Eric Bieniemy, there's been rumors about that. I just don't see him leaving, but he would have more freedom here in terms of being a play caller. There's like kind of mixed sort like information on if he calls the plays or not. Even if he does call the plays, he doesn't have 100% influence on the offense like he would here in Washington. And we have some good weapons, but of course the quarterback position is not. Even though Sam Howell has potential, like let's not act like it's super appealing to other teams. or to other coordinators, oh, they have Sam Howell, let's go and I want to coach for them. Like, that's not the reason they're going to want to coach here. And then the ownership situation. I mean, for some guys, it's like, okay, I want to be at a spot for multiple years so I can eventually get a head coaching job. But with here, I mean, these guys are probably going to be here for 1 year, maybe a little bit longer, but I don't know. That's just a situation that Washington has to consider. And also, do they want to go a guy that knows their offense, or a guy that brings in a new scheme? Because Sam Howell is a young QB, and if he's going to be your starter, learning a new offensive system 3 years in a row might be a little bit tough for him. So, in your opinion, what would you want? A totally new scheme, same scheme, or a little bit of a mix of two? Like, okay, let's say we bring in Thomas Brown. Maybe they keep a lot of the same plays that they had last year, but switch maybe 30% of the playbook, something like that, to what Thomas Brown likes a little bit more.
Yeah, again, I think the second option where we just change it up a little bit more, because again, with the play design last year with Scott, it wasn't terrible scheme wise, but when he was calling the plays, like the crunch time, crucial moments, that was off. And hopefully Brown, if he comes in, can finish those mistakes that Scott Turner had last year. So I don't want the same exact offense. I'll just a little bit tweak it up a little bit, just the cut down on the plays where we try to get too cute for no reason at all, like a jet sweep to a tight end or Curtis Samuel that we lose like 6 or 7 yards. So again, it's just change it up a little bit just to give more juice to this offense, especially since Sam is a young guy.
Yep, for sure. And I finally got my guy Jairus on the channel. Let me go ahead and put him on the stream right here. Jairus, how you doing?
What's going on? What's going on? I'm doing pretty well.
All right, man. Yeah, I'm excited to talk some ball with you. So we talked about this a little bit earlier. I believe it was this week on Juan's channel about the OC spots. What OCs do you like, and which ones do you want us to stay away from?
Like I said, I like Bobby Slowick. I don't want Charles London at all anywhere near this team, because Falcons have they call a horrible pass game. They don't really have a pass game because of their play call. They have a heck of a run game, but their pass plays aren't good. Stay away. I don't even think they're gonna, but I would say Bobby Slowick. Of the guys that were mentioned, Shermer seems to be the best option.
I mean, he definitely has experience, and of course, make sure you guys subscribe to DMV Sports Zone. Abdul is on there along with Nati, and of course, subscribe to Jairus as well from Jairus's Corner. Both great content creators, and yeah, get them. I believe to Jairus, you're getting close to 3K, and DMV Sports Zone getting up to 2K. So make sure you guys sub up to them, and great content creators. So yeah, I agree. Charles London, it's like, nothing really much there. I want to, Pat Shermer, I'm kind of interested in. If it's a 1-year thing, he can probably bring a little bit of a similar offense to what, they're running now, because he did, Ron Rivera was interested in Pat Shermer when he was in Carolina, and then his first year in Washington. So that's definitely something to consider. What do you think, Jairus? I asked Abdullah this about Leftwich or Greg Roman.
Greg Roman can stay right where he at. If you want Terry to request a trade, sign Greg Roman, because he would do it. Robert Leftwich, I'm not mad at, because he likes to pass the ball, and that's exactly what we're built to do: pass the ball, not run the ball. So I wouldn't mind Byron Leftwich. I wouldn't, because you still got Mike Evans getting over 1,000 yards, Chris Godwin, So I wouldn't mind Byron Leftwich. I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, Greg Roman's interesting because it's kind of like, okay, there's two sides to it. The one side is you hire him, Terry, Curtis, Jahan, the whole receiver room's not going to be happy. They're not going to be happy, and yeah, they're going to be miserable there. There's a reason why not a single big-time free agent signed to the Baltimore Ravens as a receiver, because they hate it there. But on the other side, he has done a very good job of developing young QBs Mobile QBs. He did it with Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick, Lamar, and I think one other guy, I forgot. Or at least he was able to utilize them as runners at a high level. And Howell isn't on the same level as those guys in terms of running, maybe on the same level as Alex Smith, but similar there. And then if they do want to run the football 2-1, which I do not want to do, someone like him would be the good option. But I don't think in 2023, running the ball 66% of the time is the right option. At most, it should be 50-50. And even 50-50 is a lot. I think it should. I just don't like the way they're doing things. Kind of, let's talk about that. Abdullah, do you like the 2-1 pass or run to pass ratio? And then Jairus, you too.
No, man, not at all. We're built to throw the ball. We took a Terry, took a first-round pick on Jahan Dotson, signed Curtis Samuel. Again, man, it wouldn't make any sense at all if we have this run-heavy offense. It just goes against what we're doing, and then we question why guys like Terry McLaurin want to stay here in Washington, and we just waste his talent here. So, again, no, pass first is what we need.
I think, okay, put it this way. This is what nobody's talking about. I went back and looked at Howell's film. We need an offensive coordinator who runs a West Coast offense. That's what we need. West Coast offense. That'll be perfect for the weapons that we have. Also, it helps our running back and maximizes our running backs and their skill sets. We need an offensive coordinator who runs a West Coast offense. This 2-1, I think Ron Rivera keep getting caught up in where we won because of the run game. You run 4 games, and you have to look at who you beat. You have to look at who you beat in those games.
And who your quarterback was.
Exactly. So, and Howell is not a dude that's you going 30 to 32 passes. That's what Sam Howell should be doing, especially with these receivers. The 2-1 is. That's just stupid. I don't know why they want to run the football so much. I don't.
Exactly. So, just kind of some news on the offensive coordinator position. Spot. John Keim on his podcast said he thinks that they will hire someone or will know who they're hiring by next Friday. So, a little under 7 days, unless someone like Jim Schwartz or Frank Reich or Eric Bieniemy become available. Then that might take a little longer, but I don't think that's going to happen. So we'll know soon, and probably, honestly, maybe another name or two we'll hear, but that's really it. Let's add some people in the chat. What's up? Yak Dog, Jacqueline, Awesomeness Sports, Brian Harding, my guy, Rashard Collins, TJM, Bubba 23, Super Chef, Trinity Jennings. Appreciate all you guys, Will Diggs, and everyone else. So, D says, why do you go to the Trash Titans? I mean, just because there's not really much stability here in terms of a job when the ownership situation is in flux. So that's kind of something to consider there. So ownership update real quick, and then we'll get into some more OC talk and just random stuff, questions in the chat. I like that question by Eric O'Neill. So Keim, again, on his podcast said all signs point to the Commanders being sold in full, which is good. And Jeff Bezos is not out of it. There's a chance he still is the owner. Josh Harris is in there. And, yeah, I mean, it's going to he said it's supposed to happen relatively soon. Who knows what that means? That could be a couple weeks, could be a couple months. But I'm hoping it happens soon so we can all celebrate. Do you guys have any owners that you prefer over the other, or do you just be like, okay, we just anyone but Dan? We can start with Abdullah and then Jairus again.
So with me, obviously, I'm pretty sure any other fans are gonna be like anybody but Dan. But I think with Josh Harris, he's the owner of the Sixers, right? I'm pretty sure. So
yeah,
I don't know if that's conflicting at all, but I don't know. That's just a minor detail. I don't know. Jeff Bezos was the guy I wanted just because new stadium, bringing a lot of people, rich man himself. But obviously a lot of people are not a big fan of him. So, I mean, again, just anyone's better than Dan. I can't even complain about the next guy since we haven't even seen him,
I don't care who the owner is. I don't prefer – I don't want Jay-Z. Let's be abundantly clear. I want him nowhere near my team. But I don't really – if we do what we're supposed to do this year, the owner does not matter. He matter. You never want the owner to meddle. And I don't know what these owners, whoever the new owner is, I don't know how much football they know, or whatever the case. Do they just leave that football in the football hands of the football people? It will matter who the owner is if we do not do our job. If Ron Rivera don't do their job. If they do, the owner really doesn't matter. If they don't, then it matters.
Yeah, and then I think for most, I mean, it's what probably is going to happen. We get a new owner. They keep everyone. They let Ron Rivera, not Scott Turner, whoever the OC is, and Jack Del Rio run it back, see how they go. If they have a successful season, then they'll probably keep them. If not, that's when what Jairus said, like they'll probably clean house, and then the owner will choose whoever the main guy is, a GM, or will they do another coach-centric approach, which I don't agree with, but they'll probably hire a GM and then let his GM do his job. And that's what we want. Like Joe Shane or Schoen, whatever, the Giants GM, he did an amazing job in one off season. He hired Brian Daboll and then got his guys in there, and they didn't even, make any crazy moves, but you see what coaching and a new, young, innovative front office can do to a team. And I wanted, when we were hiring like a GM, that's who I wanted, the Bills GM or assistant GM. But unfortunately, the Giants got him and got Brian Daboll, who I also really liked. But, I mean, at the time when he was interviewing for jobs, like not even this last year, but the year before that, we had Ron, so really nothing we could do with that. So one question I saw from, let's see, I want to pull it up right here, from Eric O'Neill. Why nobody talks about Antonio Gibson, how he's a legit weapon? Well, because Scott Turner didn't use him like he should have, been using him. I think with how we have Robinson should be getting 15 or 20 carries a game, and they did that. And Gibson, with Robinson getting that many carries, should get fewer carries, and I'm fine with that. Give him 5 to 10 carries a game, but use him as a receiver, as a receiving back. Like, there were games where Scott did use him like that, and you could see his ability. He had back-to-back games with the touchdown running like a legit receiver route. He can do that. He did that in college. And I don't understand why they did not, maximize his abilities as a pass catcher. I thought it was completely ridiculous. He has a talent, and he's one of the most talented players on this offense. But I just don't think Scott Turner was using him properly, and I want whoever the next OC is to use him more as a pass catcher than Scott Turner has. So, Jairus, your thoughts on Gibson and what he can do in 2023, and then you have.
Gibson is a guy that can go for 1,000. He's a guy that can do that. He's probably is the most talented guy on the roster. He's just underutilized, very underutilized. When you having Howe now, RPO game with Gibby and Curtis should be outstanding. It should have been 2 more running back sets with Gibby and Curtis. And when JD was there, JD, Curtis. So it's so many different ways you could have used Gibby, slap mainly, but Scott Turner's just not smart. He's not smart. But Antonio Gibson needs a lot of touches in his offense because he is the most talented and gifted on this roster. So, I mean, we need somebody who can maximize talent. The 2 best talents on your roster. That's what we need. Somebody who maximizes that.
Yeah, I agree with Jairus there. It's a Swiss Army knife, and it's just crazy because, like, again, we go back to the Giants and look how, like, their talent compared to what we have. It's like, imagine if they had like Antonio Gibson or Terry McLaurin or even a Jahan Dotson and Curtis Samuel. Like, they'd be the best receiver on the team hands down. But here we are, like, we're stuck in our own ways with Scott now that he's gone. But yeah, I mean, use him in, like, we saw him in kick return and he looked great. There's some flashes there, way better than Dax Milne. Even Jared Patterson looked better than him. So again, Gibby is really talented. He cut down on the fumbles this year. That was great to see. So hopefully this new OC is like, hey, RPO, Sam, Antonio Gibson, Curtis Samuel. It can be lethal. But again, it just all depends on the OC.
Yeah, I mean, I really like our running back position. You have Gibby, or I'm not going to say Gibby because I know he hates that, but Gibson, Robinson, and then even Patterson and Williams are solid. And then your receiver room is amazing. You got Jahan, Terry, Curtis, and even Diami and Cam Sims. They're good as well. Tight end room, you got Cole, Turner, and Armani Rogers who have some potential, but Logan is buns. And John Bates is fine as a blocker, but that's it. John Bates knows his role, and he'll be here for his entire rookie contract, but he's not a guy that is going to catch passes for you. He's going to be in there when you need to run the football, and that's fine. Like, that's what we drafted him to be, but I do believe we need to bring in another guy, a veteran, have him as one of the guys, and then Armani Rogers and Cole Turner battled out for that other spot. And I know Jairus likes Armani. He has a lot of potential. And I really, really wish he did not get hurt so we could have seen him a little bit more. Because once he did get back, I think for 1 or 2 games, they didn't really get him the ball much. But the tight end position, I would add a guy there, and maybe not a young guy because they already got 2 young guys there. And then I think the O-line position, the unit just needs to be overhauled. I mean, you need to get at least 2 more starters in there. You need to get a tackle and, either get a left tackle and move Leno to right tackle and ask him to take a pay cut, or just cut Leno in general. You need to add at least 1 guard. I would say add a guard and then have Cosme and Chris Paul battled out for 1 guard spot. And then center, you need to add, if you're not going to add a replacement, bring in someone that in a year or 2 can be that guy at center, because Chase Roulier been injured too much, and he's getting up there in age combined with the injuries. So O-line is a position that needs to be overhauled. I think Cosme can play for you on the line. You just have to figure out where. Is he going to be your right tackle, or is he going to be your right or left guard? And I think Chase Roulier, I know some people want him to be cut. I'm fine with him coming back. After that, you need to find 1 more tackle and 1 more guard. And you can do that with your first-round pick. I think first-round pick has to be tackle or cornerback. So that's what you do there. So, Jairus, your thoughts on the O-line and what you would do, and then Abdullah, you as well.
Well, what I want to do, I want to throw, I don't care how much, at Orlando Brown. Give him everything, the whole kitchen sink. What I would do, I would sign Orlando Brown to a big contract. I will go back and get Eric Flowers, somebody who's cheap as a left guard, who plays darn good at it. Then I'm going in the draft, and I'm going out and I'm getting me a cornerback in the first round, and I'm getting me a guard in the second. That's what I want to do. That's what I really want to do.
Yeah, definitely. That seems like a good plan. You, Abdullah?
Yeah, I mean, can't go wrong with that plan. But again, this team, they'll find a way to do the complete opposite of what you just said. No, I think Eric Flower. Oh, go ahead, Jairus.
And I want to say this. In that draft, Martin Mayhew was going to get Kenyon Green. Do we truly believe in them to draft the right offensive lineman? Do we? That's why we should sign one. Because if they was going to go draft him, if Jahan Dotson didn't exist, Ron would have went ahead and drafted Kenyon Green. So do we really believe in them to get the tackle that we need or offensive lineman that we need in the first round? Do we? It's a question mark.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. Orlando Brown would be huge. Just got to get rid of those old guys that you brought in, man. Those command third players like Andrew Norwell and Trey Turner. I mean, they clearly didn't do anything. And obviously, like, we've been calling for Eric Flowers to come back, but again, just no accountability to admit that, hey, we were wrong. Let's bring him back. We love Eric Flowers and maybe a shift in somewhere. I mean, Sam Cosme, it was just a lot of injuries and all. So again, like, do we trust them drafting a guy? I don't think so. So it's going to take a lot to fix this offensive line. But again, like, it starts with, just bringing in the new guys and signing them for cheap.
Yeah, and I always go back to the 2021 draft where they could have gotten Christian Darrisaw at 19. And then, with the way when it happened, I had no idea that this would have been the case. But they could have gotten Darrisaw at 19 and then Jeremiah Uso-Koromoa in the second round. That would have been amazing. And I wanted what I wanted in that draft. Get Darisaw or get Owusu Koromoa at 19. Both of those guys were sitting there, and they take Jamin Davis. And, Jamin, first year, terrible. This year, he improved. He's got the talent, but still, I haven't seen enough from him where I'm like, okay, this guy is worth this first-round pick. And he's a project, so we'll see. Like, this year is the year we need to see Jamin really show what he's about. And if he doesn't show that, then, I think it'll show that first-round pick wasn't good.
I think Jack Del Rio isn't the man for the job, personally.
I
think Jamin isn't. I think he isn't. Like, I don't think he can maximize Chase. Chase and Tiz should be way better than what they are. We had Dan Quinn. Chase and Tiz would be crazy good, but I think Jack doesn't know how. To me, I like Jamin Davis used on the edge more. Personally, I like Jamin Davis used on the edge more. Jamin Davis is more than just a linebacker. Like, we don't use him the way he should be used. We just use him in a way that is beneficial to what they want to do, which is not necessarily beneficial for the team.
Yeah, for sure. And real quick, of course, make sure you guys sub up to Jairus and to Abdullah from DMV Sports Zone. Put their links in the chat. Go ahead and sub them up. Both great content creators. And yeah, I'm fine keeping Del Rio. I know, he does have his issues, especially in the beginning of the year. His adjustments always take way too long to happen, but the defense did end up, shaping into place, got 4th overall. And Chase, I think part of it could have been Sam Mills. We'll see. I'm like a full year of Ryan Kerrigan as the assistant D-line coach will do if he can help out Chase. Kerrigan didn't really have many pass rush moves either, but he did have one that was elite. And if he can help out Chase with that, Chase, this is the year. Chase, his first year was what we expected from him. Defensive Rookie of the Year. He was the number 2 overall pick. That's what we expected. And then second year just wasn't it. And then he got the ACL, and then this year took really, really long to recover. So year 4, 0 excuses. He needs to have a double-digit sack season, or else what a lot of people have been saying for a long time might be true, that he is Jadeveon Clowney. And, there's nothing wrong with being Jadeveon Clowney, but there is something wrong with being Jadeveon Clowney when you're the number 2 overall pick, because Jadeveon Clowney is a good player. He's not a great player. And when you pick when you have the number 2 overall pick, you expect a franchise-changing player or a guy that is a perennial Pro Bowl player. And so far, Montez Sweat, who still is an elite, has totally outplayed Chase Young. And Montez Sweat isn't even Montez Sweat's a good player, but he hasn't hit double-digit sacks. And Chase Young hasn't come close. He got 7.5 sacks. So we'll see. This is the big year for Chase Young. He needs to ball out. No excuses. No excuses about double team or, chips, because Micah Parsons, you know what? He gets double teamed. Nick Bosa, you think he doesn't get double teamed? He does. So Chase Young, no excuses. This is a year he's got to ball out.
I think that same energy should be held for Tiz.
Hey, here's the thing.
Tiz is probably the most athletically gifted edge in the league. You got to give me more than what you've given me. Way more, as athletic gifted as he is. We should have 2 guys in the top 5 of edge rushers. Legit. Because they have that kind of talent. Why they can't do it?
Yeah, beyond me. I agree with you that Tez needs to step up, but the thing is, the reason I don't hold him to the same standard is because Chase was a number 2 overall pick and Montez was a 26th overall pick. But yeah, I agree. Tez has to be better. He is the king of being a millisecond away from a sack. You always watch the replay, and he's right there, right after the QB throws. He can't finish, and that is something that, okay, if you're a D tackle, pressures are enough. But if you're an edge rusher and you want to get paid, you got to get sacks. And Montez gets 7, 8, 9 each year, but he can't hit that double-digit mark. And I thought this year was going to be the year, and it wasn't, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is with Tez, and we'll see.
That Titans game, that's the Montez Sweat I need every game. That's what his ceiling is. That is a dominant performance. That's what he could be. I need it every game. Every game.
Yeah, for sure. Abdul, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, Tez is just amazing athlete. I mean, he was a basketball player too in high school. So it's always like he's close but never there. And also, we traded back into the first round for him. So again, especially with this whole contract situation, it's just like he's not elite, but he's not terrible. He's just on that border and closer to elite, I would say, if he got those sacks, and those forced fumbles. So it's frustrating, but
that's because they can be elite. That's what pisses me off. All 4 of them. We've seen Deron basically say, okay, this is what you could be. John Allen, the year before, this is what you could be. Tez, you see it in flashes of the game. This is what you could be. I'm tired of could. Do it. It's 4 of y'all together. All of y'all are together. Do it. Now, I think a lot of that is on Jack Del Rio because you're playing this stupid off coverage, which gives them legitimately no time to get to the quarterback. That doesn't help them.
That is true. I mean, how many games did we see, 10 yards of cushion where Daniel Jones, especially in the Giants games, where Daniel Jones would drop back, throw a little screen or a little curl route to Isaiah Hodgins right away, and it was really, really unfortunate. So I agree that, and this is just another off-topic rant from me, but I think prevent defense is the stupidest thing in all of sports. I do not understand why NFL defensive coordinators do it. For example, you look at the Commanders-Cowboys game, right? The last game of the season. Commanders defense was shutting out the Cowboys the whole first half. The Cowboys had 1 first down the whole first half before the last drive. 2 minutes left. Jack Del Rio's okay, you know what? We've been playing perfect defense the whole half, but because there's 2 minutes, let's play prevent defense. And instead of having one big play, we'll let them get 10-yard passes and score a touchdown. And you know what they did? They did that, and the Cowboys marched right down the field because of the extra cushion that they were giving him. And this is not just a Jack Del Rio problem, but he does it a lot. But the prevent defense, unless you're up by 2+ scores with 6+ minutes left, do what was working. I don't understand why they go to prevent defense. If your defense has been working all game, why are you switching it up? It doesn't make sense to me.
You try to get cute.
Yeah, it's
do the same thing on offense.
Exactly, yeah. And yeah, I mean, the offense, one thing that was interesting is that I looked at a stat. We were one of the most efficient offenses in terms of no huddle, right? No huddle, we were one of the most efficient offenses, but Scott Turner ran our offense in no huddle, I believe bottom 5 in the league. So that doesn't make sense. And we clearly saw, especially early on the season, when we ran no huddle, our offense was so much better, but he never did it. And even when we had no time and we needed to score quick, he would still have them huddling up and taking 25 seconds. I'm happy we're done with Scott Turner. And I did a video this week talking about the top 5 needs for the Commanders this offseason. Give me your guys' top 3 positional needs for the Commanders. We'll start with Abdullah and then go to Jairus.
So I think for me, you got to start off with, I'll say tackle and then guard, and then at 3, going corner. I think we'll get Cole back, and I think there's emphasis on the offensive line. I'm not really worried about wide receivers. Tight end a little bit because we're going to cut Logan and got to see if the young guys will step up. But just more on the offensive line if they can protect Sam Howell, this new offensive coordinator.
O-line, corner, safety. We need a free safety bad. I've been crying for a free safety for 3 years. Still ain't get it yet.
Hey, I agree with the first 2. I know you're not a big Derek Forrest fan. I think that let him. I mean, he's still young. I mean, think about it. He really didn't play his rookie year, so this year was his rookie year. He had a good. I mean, he had a solid. He showed flashes. He's a big hitter. Yes, he does have his coverage bust, but that is expected with young players. So I am personally fine. Bring him back. You have Percy Butler too. Who does have some potential. I think I rather get someone at the linebacker position or the O-line position or cornerback position before I go to safety. That's me.
Yeah, corner's huge, but if you get a legit corner, then the right side wouldn't be open so much, or whatever
Yeah.
side Derek Forrest is on. Derek Forrest is just not good at free safety. Like, he's just not. He's good occasionally there. I like him more so in the box, coming downhill, going through the gap, getting gaps on running backs. Out in coverage, he gets abused. I don't want him back there all the time. He's not a full-time free safety. He can play it occasionally, but I want me a full-time free safety. Somebody that, because whenever Cam plays, that side of the field isn't, they're not going over there. They specifically, it's a way that you attack Washington. Attack the left side of the field and then the linebackers. They do the same thing every game. Left, middle. The right side of the field is never open because they don't want to go to Cam. That's why I say I want a free safety.
And I mean, I somewhat agree. I think though, with Cam, when Cam and Derek play together, I think they play pretty well. But when you saw like Derek Force against the 49ers without Cam, awful. That was one of the worst games I've ever seen from him. The next game as well, who they play? The Browns. He didn't have a great game. So I do see that sometimes, but I do think he's young and he can grow. And then if he doesn't, you did invest a fourth in Percy Butler. Maybe he can do that. But I can see what you're saying. I think
they're the same players.
What?
They're the same exact players.
We'll see. We'll see.
They both. I like Percy Butler a lot more because he wants to come down. He's not really a free safety. He wants to come down and lay a hit. I like him.
Yeah.
Derek Forrest is more conservative than Percy Butler is.
Yeah, and I mean,
he's a more athletic than Shazier Everett. Percy Butler. That's what he is.
And they're both good. Or Percy Butler's a solid special teams player. But yeah, they need a corner. Christian Gonzalez is a guy that they could go after. That's been a lot of people been saying him. You got Joey Porter out of Penn State. Keely, what is his name? Ringo from Georgia. There's some other guys as well. I saw Daniel Jeremiah had someone in the top 10 that I forgot his name. And then tackle, Paris Johnson. There's some other guys. We're going to get into all of that relatively soon. But free agency is first. And that's when we're really going to start to see. And Commanders, they don't have a lot of cap space now, but that'll change. If they cut Wentz, that's $26 million. Cut Logan Thomas, that's some cap space as well. There's some other guys like Norwell, McCain that they can move on from. There's some guys that they can either cut or they can restructure, or if the guy doesn't want to restructure, cut him. Leno, Kendall Fuller, I don't want to cut, but you could probably restructure that deal, convert some of that money to guaranteed contract, save some money there. And there's some other guys that you can do that with as well, maybe Curtis Samuel. So they have a lot, like they can get over $50+ million in cap space by cutting / restructuring some deals and converting it to signing bonuses. But our front office isn't very creative in terms of creating cap space. And that's either because they're old or because Dan Snyder isn't very liquid, which is, he doesn't have a lot of money, cash on hand, which means he can't convert the contract to signing bonuses. And if that's the case, okay, that's not the front office's fault, but still. Eli says, how much will Cole Holcomb get in free agency? I don't think it's going to be that much. Like, I'm definitely not over 10 mil in my opinion. I think it'll be probably in that $5 to $8 million range, maybe 4 to 7. I'll bring him back, but not for that much. Like if you get 4 or 5 mil, maybe 6, I'll bring him back. But anything much more than that, I don't really want to, because even when he was out with like bums at linebackers, our defense was still playing great. Linebacker is not super, super important and you can find guys that are good or solid for cheap in free agency or the draft. So if Cole Holcomb wants to come back at a good deal, bring him back. But if someone's overpaying him and we don't want to match that, I'm totally fine with that. Your thoughts, Abdullah, and then Jairus.
Yeah, I think with Cole, again, injury has been a factor in him in his play of not being able to be out there on the field. But yeah, what you're saying 4 to 7, 5 days, that's perfect. It shouldn't be more than 10. I mean, it was a 5th round steal, I'm pretty sure, leading the team in tackles. So again, just with him and Jamin, that's not terrible at all. And I think corner is way much of a bigger need.
Yeah, I mean, I want Cole to go because I want all the money in the world to throw in free agency at Orlando Brown personally. And I want guys on rookie contracts in the draft. I want linebackers on rookie contracts. That way you can build. I really don't want to kick out no more money. I don't.
Yeah, definitely not trying to overpay for Cole Holcomb because he's not an elite linebacker. He's okay, but you can find other Cole Holcombs for cheaper, whether it's, again, in the draft or in free agency or just someone like AJ Klein who's available all season. I just hope they don't ignore the position because the depth there is so bad. And the same thing with corner. If you don't draft a guy in the first round, okay, but you better at least bring in a starting caliber player that is okay because we know Benjamin St-Juste is probably going to get hurt because he has his first 2 years. And then Kendall Fuller, he's all right, but who knows? He's getting up there in age, maybe. I mean, he's 27, but still could get hurt. And then Bob McCain, I mean, I don't know if they're bringing him back, but if he doesn't come back, you got to get a new slot corner. So they got to at least bring in one starting caliber corner, maybe 2.
They're gonna. I mean, them going out to sign William Jackson, they know they need another corner. So I think they're gonna try to swing big on corner again. Maybe not in free agency, but you're gonna have to do it. You should swing corner big in this draft because there's a lot of them. It's top heavy, but I mean, they're gonna have to go. They're gonna go corner at some point. High. They're gonna go early.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm trying to think. Danny Johnson was decent, but he's a good guy to be your 5th or 6th corner, not your.
I wish they didn't get rid of Toy McTire because he was balling. I bring back Toy McTire for a 5th as my 5th corner. I really would because he was balling.
Yeah.
His only problem was he never turned his head around, but that was it with him. Toy McTire was balling. I don't know why they just said bye.
It sucked that he got hurt because he was playing. I mean, he was playing a lot. I think he was a starter or he was playing a decent amount because I think someone was hurt. It might have been Kendall Fuller. I don't know who was hurt, but he played pretty well. Any other free agents that you would like the Commanders to go after? I know Tremaine Edmonds is available at linebacker. There's some other guys. Do you guys have any guys you guys have an eye out for besides Orlando Brown?
Mike McGlinchey. I like Mike McGlinchey, Marcus Peters, because he's a scheme fit because they like to run zone. James Bradbury be a free agent.
Marcus Peters is a ball hawk. I mean, he is kind of he is a character. He's had some issues at each team, not in terms of off the field, but just with coaches and stuff. But he is a beast, and he gets so many interceptions that it's okay. Wherever he's been, he's gotten interceptions. Chiefs, Rams, Ravens, he's gotten interceptions, so he would be good. And Bradbury, I mean, that's a no-brainer. I don't know why they didn't go after him.
They wanted him, so they might go out and say, hey, let's go get Bradbury. But Bradbury, Marcus Peters, because he got that dog. And I still go corner high. I'll still go high at corner, even with signing Marcus Peters. But Marcus Peters, Bradbury, and McGlinchey was the guys that I was looking at. Jesse Bates.
That'd be a dream right there.
Yeah, that's a dream. That's a dream right there. But I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, I mean, Tremaine Edmonds. It's I don't know.
Bill's gonna kick him out. They're gonna kick him out that contract. He ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So McGlinchey, Peters, Bradbury, that'd be nice. And obviously, Bates is a dream scenario. If that's the case. Wow.
You can get Peters for the cheap and Bradbury for the cheap.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of hope. I hope Bradbury wins a ring this year. Actually, I don't hope he does because I'm not rooting for the Eagles. But if he does, he's more likely to come here after getting a ring.
Gardner Johnson is also a free agent.
He's also a free agent, yeah. I mean, the Eagles have a lot of free agents. They have Kazir White. They have Gardner Johnson, James Bradbury, Miles Sanders. They've got a lot of free agents. So, hey, I mean, they're still going to be a good team. They have a quarterback. They got the receivers. They're going to be good for a while, which is unfortunate. You look at the NFC East, man. The NFC East is going to be good for a while. Who knows? The Cowboys, at least for the next couple years, the Cowboys are going to be solid. The Eagles are going to be good. And the Giants, their roster is not good. The roster is not good, and they still won a playoff game. When they get their roster right, they're going to be even better. This coaching staff and this regime for the Giants is good. I think they will be good. And that sucks for the Commanders. But, hey, we were in a weak division for a few years. We benefited from it a little bit by making the playoffs. We got to deal with it. You have 7 teams from each conference making the playoffs, so there's no excuses. So Commanders next year have to ball out and make the playoffs. If they don't make the playoffs, Ron needs to be fired. I mean, there's no excuse for really, if you think about it. If he doesn't make the playoffs the next year, he didn't have a single season over 500 because the one year they did make the playoffs, they won 7 games. And that was a good year. Like, Ron overachieved that year. I mean, they were a 3-win team the year before, but still, they've got to be better than 8 wins this year if Ron wants to be back. 10 wins, make the playoffs, maybe win a game, and then he's back. If not, then you probably got to clean house, get a new GM, because I still am not a huge fan of Martin Mayhew, Marty Herney, and whatever, Napoli, and they're all like 60 plus. And no offense to older people, but in terms of who I want running my franchise, I mean, Marty Herney's got to be like 75, 70, whatever. I don't know. He's old. He's like 70. And to run a franchise, that's just a little too old for me. I don't know. What do you guys think?
That whole front office is step. I can't stand the front office. Yeah.
How about you, Abdullah?
I can't. I mean, like Marty Herney, Martin Mayhew. I mean, what have they done in their career for us to say, hey, let's bring them over to Washington? Like, I don't know, man. It's just the younger the better, in my opinion. And we've had so many young guys in this coaching staff that we let go, and they excel on different organizations. So again, I don't want these old school dinosaur philosophy guys leading us.
Yeah, Herney's 67. Dreon Scott says, did you see the Derek Carr news? No. I mean, Dula told me about it a little bit, but Jordan, whatever, Washington today, not a super reliable source, so I'm not going to take what he says too much. Too much into account. I think Derek Carr, for me, no way I'm trading for him at all. Like, I'm not trading for a guy that's going to be making $40+ million a year, and really, I'm probably not signing him either. Like, if he signs, he's willing to sign for cheaper, okay. But besides that, I'm not paying $40 million for Derek Carr. I mean, I just don't think it's the smartest option. If it's cheaper, that's different because you can pay some of your guys and keep him. But also, you look at Carr, historically, he has struggled big time when it's the first year in a new offense. Well, if he's here, it's going to be the first year in a new offense. So for me, I'm a no on Carr unless you can get him for really cheap, or else just keep Howell or even draft a guy. But just Derek Carr, nah. Abdullah?
If we go after Derek Carr, I don't care if we trade for him. It would be worse if we trade for him. If we sign him, we were repeating the same mistakes we have done for so long as this terrible organization has done for the past 20 years. We signed other people's leftovers, Alex Smith, Case Keenum, Carson Wentz recently. It's just Ryan Fitzpatrick. It's this QB carousel. If we really want change, we got to stay away from our old habits. Just make sure they're away as far as possible. And signing Derek Carr, thinking he's gonna be the savior. I mean, dude, that's crazy.
I'm good on Derek Carr. I know the ceiling of. I know Sam Howell gonna work out because I know the ceiling of how high ceiling he has. Go with Sam Howell. Why are you like? And he's on a rookie contract. Don't be stupid and waste an extra year. Why he's on this rookie contract? Like, I'm good on Derek Carr. I'm not about to waste no $20 million on him. For what?
Yeah, and guys, this is something people don't consider. I would love if Howell is a franchise QB, a top 5, top 10 QB. I don't think it's going to happen. If he this year is a top 22 QB, guys, that's a huge, I know that's not that's how sad we are that I'm hoping he's a top 22 QB, but if he's a top 22 QB, that is a huge upgrade over what we've gotten from Wentz and Heineke. Wentz, this is PFF, you got to take it with a grain of salt. But PFF had Wentz as a 33rd ranked QB in the league and Heineke as a 37th. I think those should be flipped, but whatever. It doesn't matter. They both were not good. They're not starters. Heineke's a good backup. If Howell can be 22nd, 23rd, that's an upgrade. And not only is it an upgrade, you're paying him less than $1 million. So that is very, very valuable to have a QB on a rookie deal. So let's say this year he's like the 22nd ranked quarterback and pretty much that's his rookie year. And maybe in the next year he can be an average quarterback. And if average quarterback with this defense and the weapons we have on our team, we can go somewhere, honestly. So maybe he can turn out to be a franchise QB. I'm not banking on it. Who knows though? Who knows?
I know.
You think he's going to be a top 5 QB? Top 10?
His potential, I think he would be a top 10 quarterback. Because I know what Sam Howell is. I haven't been wrong with quarterbacks as far as the draft yet. Sam Howell's going to be a top 10 quarterback. What people need to understand and realize is I get what you're coming from, because you looking at it as from a Washington fan. You're not trying to get your hopes up. You're not trying to. So I understand that. Me, I'm riding this Howard's. Sam Howell's going to be a dog. He is the answer. I know that. And I never seen Terry. I don't think Terry, I never seen Terry as happy as he was in that game with Sam Howell was his QB. Or Jahan. I've never seen those guys that excited and that happy about a quarterback.
Yeah.
I believe they know he's it. They know he's it.
And one thing, this is off topic, but I was so mad when I saw Terry's stat total for the year, 1,191 yards. If he would have caught that perfect, he was just not used to getting a perfect pass from a QB because that ball was perfect. And if he would have caught that, he would have got 9+ yards and gotten over 1,200. But yeah, it's unfortunate seeing Terry with just you look at the QBs that he played with. Case Keenum, Colt McCoy, rest in peace, but Dwayne Haskins. You put in, who else am I missing? Garrett Gilbert, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Kyle Allen, Taylor Heineke, Carson Wentz. I mean, look at all. I know I missed someone, but all those QBs, just awful. And he's been balling. I want to see what he can do with a good QB. I really do, because I think he can be a top 5, top 7 receiver in the league with production wise with a good QB. So I really want to see what he can do, even an average QB. Got over 100 people in here, guys. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new on the road to 11K, and subscribe to Jairus Corner and DMV Sports Zone. Abdullah and Nati are on there along with Evan and Noah. So I think we're going to wrap it up in a few minutes. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and put in the chat. Playoff football today. We got the Jags and Chiefs at 4:30. Should be a good game. I mean, I think the Chiefs, if you look at it, what's up, Jared? The Chiefs played down to their competition. So I think the Chiefs are going to win, but it could be closer than people think. And then the night game, Giants and Eagles. Excited for that game. And who are you guys rooting for, the Giants or the Eagles?
Giants.
I mean, they're both division rivals, but I have so many friends that are Giants fans. I have so many friends that are Eagles fans. So I don't know. It's I can't root for a tie because
for me, in person, Eagles fans are worse. But like on Twitter, I know Jairus, you're not on Twitter, but the Giants fans are so miserable. Like the only time I ever engage with like debates or back and forth on Twitter, which I don't like to do, it's because a Giants fan said something stupid, and I spent 30 minutes to an hour just arguing with them. And honestly, a lot of it has been, some of it I've been wrong about. Like I spent a summer defending Dwayne Haskins, going into that next season about the Daniel Jones Dwayne Haskins debate. And I mean, I saw tweets this week that saying that Daniel Jones is way better than Justin Herbert. Let's slow our roll a little bit. The man threw 15 touchdowns in 17 games. Is he good? Is he solid? Yeah. But is he a top 10 QB? In my opinion, no. Maybe he can be, because honestly, you look at his weapons, they're trash. I mean, his number one receiver is Isaiah Hodgins. Yeah, but like, and that was only for really the last like 6 games of the season. For most of the season, he had Darius Slayton, and that's really it. So who knows? Like, I would take Daniel Jones, but I'm not taking Daniel Jones for $40 million. So we'll see what happens, but should be some good games. And then tomorrow you got the Bengals and Bills, which should be amazing. Unfortunately, that's not. You got what? You got the Bengals. I wish that was primetime game, but of course, America's team is going to be playing on primetime. I am concerned that Brock Purdy's going to fold against Micah Parsons.
Y'all gonna stop playing with Brock.
What?
Y'all gonna stop playing with Brock like that.
You think he's it?
Yeah. If you watch me long enough, that's why you think that. I ain't gonna say I'm cocky, but when it comes to my draft analysis, I have not been wrong about no quarterback yet. I told people before the season, I said, at some point, Brock Purdy is going to start, and he's going to be the starting quarterback for that team moving forward. That's exactly what's happening. I've seen this already with Brock Purdy, and he was the last pick in the draft.
Yeah,
I've seen this with Brock.
What QBs do you like in this draft?
Honestly,
I mean, I know you haven't been able to watch like all the film because it's super, super early, but like gut reaction. So
I like Will Levis, but he regressed from last season.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson, he's a boom or bust prospect. I think CJ Stroud and Bryce Young are starters. I don't think they're franchise QBs. I think they're in that Derek Carr range. You know, Matthew Stafford in there, Dak Prescott. I think they're in there. But they're not Mahomes, Josh Allen, Herbert, Burrow. They're not in that tier. They're tier 2. It's a lot of question marks with that draft class. But I like Will Levis the most because of his ceiling. But it's going to take time for him.
Yeah, I mean, I saw some buzz that had him as a second or even first quarterback taken. So who knows if that happens? I think it'll be Bryce Young. And after that, a lot of questions on who's next, because I've seen CJ Stroud as a second quarterback. I've seen him as the fourth. I've seen him behind Bryce Young, Levis, and Richardson. So there's just going to be a lot of debate in the next few months. I don't think we're going to be a part of that debate. But if we really like a guy, and we think he can be a franchise QB, go ahead and get him. If not, how?
I made a case that if Will Levis was sitting at 16 staring you in your face, I love Hal. I believe Hal can be a top 10 QB, but you have to at least think. Because you don't want another thing to happen is to where, let's say Sam Howell is the answer, or let's say he's not. You know what you want to think about. Do you really want the Justin Herbert Chase Young thing again? We could have had Levis. He was sitting right there. So, so you have to think about it, entertain if Levis goes to 16. I don't think he will.
If you have 2 QBs, like, you can always trade one and get some good value as well. Like, the 49ers are going to have an interesting offseason. It's like, okay, depending on how Brock Purdy plays the rest of the way, even if he doesn't play well this next game or two, like, he's going to be in conversation for the starter, and they're either going to have to stick with him or go Lance and trade one of them, because you're going to have to do that.
Lance gone. He's just
would you trade for Lance or no?
I made a video on that. I think Ron Rivera would, because that's the guy he loved. I think if Lance I think we'll be in that trade discussion. Now,
would you do it? How much would you guys give up for Lance? That's the question.
I'll give you a 2nd round pick for Lance.
Because I would give up a second 100%. I just don't – they traded so much to go up for him. I think it'll take more than a first. So
– you want to know why I say no? The negotiation is going to be, well, he got hurt. I don't know how he's going to come back. So that's going to come down. But I want to move forward with Howe. But having Lance and Howe on the same roster, your QB future looks pretty darn bright, and we haven't had that in a long time. Because you can't go wrong with either. But I don't see us going in the QB because you can't. I don't think you can put out Sam Howell as your starting quarterback going into the next season and then try to retract it. That just doesn't look right. Like, I don't see them starting anybody over Howell or going after somebody to threaten Howell. You already went out and said what you said. So the offensive coordinator, if you're going in there in mind, he's having in mind Sam Howell is my quarterback. So I'm planning and I'm game planning for him. You bringing somebody completely left field, that's not going to go well. So, and I think you don't want to piss Terry off right now because I think Terry wants Howell. So,
yeah, really want to play those games. And next year you got Caleb Williams and Drake May as the.
I would still want to watch Caleb Williams.
You want him?
No, I say I want to watch him because of what I think that people was enamored with is his playmaking ability. I think that's what they're enamored with more so than anything. His spectacular plays, but that doesn't. I don't go off that crap because that doesn't impress me. I'm still trying to figure out how you lose against Tulane.
True.
You're Caleb Williams.
I think we're gonna wrap it up. Over an hour, good stream, guys, and of course, make sure you guys check out their channels. Great content creators for sure, and enjoy the rest of your day with the great playoff football. So appreciate you guys coming on, and yeah, peace, guys.